My name is Eric Gary. I go to the Kiski School and I'm currently a senior.
My name is Caleb Massey, and I am currently a senior at Shadyside Academy.
My name is Christian Moreland. I go to Central Catholic High School and I'm a senior.
My name is Caden and I go to St. Edmunds Academy and I'm in sixth grade.
I'm Cree. I go to St. Edmunds and I'm in sixth grade.
Okay, so I'm Mariah Davis. I'm a senior at Western Reserve Academy.
Hi, my name is Micah Licious, and I am a student at Oakland Catholic School, and I am currently in sophomore year.
Some challenges that fame has helped me overcome. I would say a challenge that I really had was when I first came to Kiski and I was trying to adjust, and fame was there in my corner 110%. And they always helped me and were there to support me through the transition and getting my grades back together to the student that I was. And it was just a really hard transition coming from middle school and going to boarding school. It was just like me going from 8th grade to college.
I will say that the most significant experience I've had at Fame was being a part of Fame Academy. And up until that point, I wasn't used to having summer school for 5 days a week for 6 weeks out of the summer, and really having to dedicate all this time for the majority of my summer. And I think the reason why it was very significant for me personally was because it helped me learn to adjust and to adapt. It helped me learn adaptability because, like I said, I was not used to summer school. I'd never written any essays. I wasn't used to reading and writing as analytically and as critically as the teachers in Fame Academy taught us. So that, as you can assume, that really made the transition into private school and into Shadyside Academy specifically a lot smoother for me, because that first year at Shadyside was, a huge learning experience. We had, obviously, the workload is very rigorous, and all that time spent writing essays, learning how to write essays analytically and critically throughout Fame Academy really helped to prepare me. So I will say that the most significant experience for me was Fame Academy, the classes on Saturdays throughout the year, and just really learning how to adapt to an environment that I wasn't used to whatsoever, and also learning how to thrive in that environment despite having little to no experience doing those things.
Well, I participated in Fame through two programs, through the PNC coding and the VEX. But initially how I found Fame was actually through my mom, because she started to work for Fame, and that was sort of my step into the door and sort of my first experience with this organization. And it's been great ever since, I have to say. I started with PNC Coding for a Cause, which was a group of students of Fame scholars were brought together to work on a coding project. And the first year we created a Sphero ball to work in emergencies. And then the second year we created a website that would sort of work along with it, where it would map out buildings and sort of aid in both situations. I also did the SAT prep with Fame, which was extremely beneficial for my test taking and has helped me along the way. And VEX was also another experience with Fame that I cherish a lot, because I got to make a lot of new friends, and it helped me sort of figure out my interest in STEM.
I learned that Fame can teach you to keep pushing, even if you're trying your best and you're still not doing as well as you could be doing. Just keep pushing until a point that you're starting to stop at.
I think that it makes me feel better in myself, because I feel like they're confident in you to pick what you're going to do when you grow up and to help you with programs and things to push you harder to do those.
I think the most significant experience that I've had at Fame was probably while I was in Fame Academy, and the NSBE trips that we went to twice a year, I believe. That's where my interest kind of sparked in like the STEM field, and that's kind of where I got into engineering and things like that. And it's kind of where I decided and realized that's what I wanted to do. So in the fall, wherever I choose to go to college, I plan on studying mechanical engineering.
So like I've learned how to solve issues, write theses, craft my ideas, and like with creative writing. And I've also learned how to do many more things through all the workshops and guest speakers and experiences that I've had.
I would say it was an amazing experience, because even though they all knew each other because they've been a part of Fame for a long time, it wasn't like I was an outsider. It was very inviting. And it wasn't really an issue now that I think about it. Like going into these Fame programs, there was never this divide or this like, oh, he's from another school or he's never been part of Fame. It's always been extremely inviting, and everyone's been really kind.
I've never did or would have been able to experience something like that without Fame. It was just a great opportunity to finally get the opportunity to travel and figure out actually what I want to do and just get different exposure and opportunities and experiences in many different shapes and forms.
Yes, especially with the tutoring, with the Saturday tutoring for me, like they help me understand what I'm not getting in class, and they do checkups usually, and they motivate me to keep going. What I like about Fame is that they're just a good support system, and I like that they help pay for a good education for me, and that they do things either through the global pandemic going on or not. They usually find something for us to do. So that's one thing I like about Fame.
I think the biggest thing was my freshman year. So Western Reserve is a boarding school in Ohio. It's about 2 hours away from Pittsburgh. And so it was an all like whole new environment for me. I was like little freshman me, kind of scared and nervous, and I had never like been, away from my parents for this long, let alone like going to school. And then it being a private school at that, a lot of what Fame helped me with was preparing me for the workload of a private school. So coming in my freshman year, I kind of knew how to, I created these study habits and things like that in Fame Academy. And then even then, once I was still kind of struggling a little bit at the beginning of the year, Fame offered tutors on the weekends for me, despite me not being in Pittsburgh. I was still given like all the same academic benefits as everyone else, so tutoring.
Although I do not go to one of the traditional partner schools of Fame, I'm still supported, and I still have access to all of the services that they offer for the children who go to the partner schools. So I'm still able to receive tutoring if I need it and help. They still check in on me, and I still am able to go to events and conferences, talks, and board meetings.
So to start with us being out of Pittsburgh, Fame always created a way for reserve students to be involved in whatever everyone else was doing at home. So whether that had been Zoom calls or anything like Google Hangout calls, to meet for like math counts or like TMA or anything like that, or any of the student planning committees. And then during quarantine, with all the social and racial justice issues that were going on, we had multiple Zoom calls with Brother Malcolm, who joined once, just to kind of check in with all the FAME students to see what our feelings were, and it kind of went in like connection with a trip that we took the year before during spring break, the leadership trip in Alabama, and we got to see like a lot of different museums and monuments, and we kind of saw that come together like with the conversations that we had over quarantine on Zoom about everything that was going on at the time.
I think it would help me be with the online virtual lessons for symposiums, to learn about like art and dermatology and to practice those things.
Naturally, switching to online school and adjusting to all these things was difficult. But another lesson that I learned, and I'm sure a lot of my peers learned from being a part of FAME, was looking for multiple different routes, pathways, methods of doing something. So whenever we would hit a wall, hit a barrier, the leaders and teachers in FAME would encourage us to look for another method to attack the same task, or another pathway to go to reach a certain goal. FAME was constantly trying to equip us with these skills that allowed us, like I said, to adapt, to adjust, and to look for multiple different pathways and ways. They wouldn't just allow us, you weren't allowed to just give up or to give in, but rather find the solution or be the solution.
Well, I was interested in PNC coding for a cause first because I am interested in STEM. That was the immediate part that drew me to it. But I continued to come back to it because I did it for 3 years in a row because of the group that was created from it. We all came from different schools, from different environments. And that's something I never really experienced before because I always did after school clubs at the school I was at. So if that was Central, after school, it was with a group of people who we all had the same day, we all know the same teachers. And it's not this initial getting to know each other that really came with the activities I did through FAME. And that was something that was different and unique and innovative, that really drew me to it and continued to sort of inspire me to keep going to these FAME events. And it was a great way for me to get to know people, and especially get to know people of like the same skin color as me, and get to know people like me, and be in an area of like-minded people, and that's something that I really enjoyed.
I want to be an architect when I'm older, and I'm not that comfortable with math right now, but I'm planning to do more studying in math.
It's different from any other organization that I'm a part of, is because no matter what or how, FAME is always going to make a way to find a different way or a different avenue to help us get done what we want to accomplish as well. And one thing that always has set FAME out from my other organizations and everything is FAME, they're just always there to help and motivate and support us, and they always push us, and they know what we're capable of doing. So you just have to push yourself to the fullest and work hard at whatever you do, because no matter what, you can always accomplish and achieve the goals that you want to do.
I believe that FAME is really innovative with the scholar program itself and with the academy program, because I do not hear much about programs that help kids at such a young age, like starting at such a young age. Like I was into FAME when I was the summer of 7th grade, yes, the summer before 7th grade, I became a FAME student. And I believe that that is really impactful for me and my education, because I've been able to learn things way ahead of my peers in school now. And I've been able to like have an edge, I suppose, against other people who I'm competing for like top spots, or in like with competitions like such as writing competitions and things like that. So I believe that the Academy is really innovative because it's something that you don't hear about.
We were trying to figure out the t-shirt design because we were going to go to California with matching t-shirts, and I was sitting there and I was drawing on like the piece of paper. I was like, oh, this would be fun, but I didn't really say anything because I'm usually shy in these situations. And it was Haley and my friend Alexis, who I also met through Vex and PNC Coding. She sort of they both like nudged me along, and they were like, just put it up on the board. And it ended up being the one we sent to Dr. Nelson for the t-shirts. And it was just like, it was just like, it was making this group of friends that was helping each other and pushing us all forward.
They gave us activities to do. I don't know if they do them regularly because this is my 2nd year, but they gave us activities and meetings to join, and and science things. Yeah, I was pretty shy when I first joined, and now I'm really loosened and I can share my thoughts and emotions with more people now.
The college program that I did through FAME was extremely helpful in my college process and looking for what I liked in the college, because that was the first time I actually toured a college on my terms in a way. Like I've toured a college with my older sister, but that wasn't for me. This was a college tour for me, and it was something that really showed me the pros and cons of what I wanted and where I wanted to go, and it helped me narrow down the search of what I wanted to do. And also the program itself was really helpful in sort of like the introductory way of how it began. Like even though we didn't get to go to California and tour more colleges, it still was a great experience. And I think that's something that's really, really cool. Something that didn't even really get to kickstart still left a big mark on how I view college and my college process.
It allows you to be more comfortable with making mistakes and struggling, and also be more comfortable with coming to them. So I think that going into Shadyside, I wasn't afraid to ask questions, and especially now applying to colleges, I wasn't afraid to ask my college counselor for help or to be very open about any struggles that I'm having. So I think Dr. Nichelle, Mr. Wiley, just being very invested in every single one of the students, and the way that they're thriving or maybe even struggling. They were just very invested in making sure that every student had the best experience in their own way, but also was equipped with the necessary skills to thrive in high school and now the college process. So
thinking about what I wanted to do when I grow up, probably because the symposiums and help a lot to think about like what you really want to do and to learn about different things that maybe you weren't aware of before.
So I first spoke with a representative from Bayer who attended the annual celebration, I think of two years ago, I want to say, my sophomore year. And Ms. Nichelle, Dr. Nichelle, introduced me to Ms. Divya, and I kind of just said, introduced myself, said, just kind of telling her who I was and like what I was interested in. And then a couple weeks later, I received a call from her about an internship that was opening up to high schoolers, and this was the first year that they had done an internship with high schoolers. Usually it's only college students. And so pretty much from there, like Fame helped me make the connection, and then everything else was kind of like on me to make sure that I set up an interview with representatives from Bayer and things like that.
With Fame, I feel like it's a second family. So it was really nice to be able to have people who, you know, had the same experiences that I did and who I felt somewhat bonded with since I spent years with them now. And it was really nice to have people checking in on me. Like with school, I had been switching schools a lot because they kept closing. So it was really nice to have somebody to rely on. And they would send like emails like, I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's staying safe. I hope, and let us know if there's anything we can do to help you, like financially or with your schoolwork. And that was, to me, felt like really grounding, and was a really nice expression of how Fame helped me grow with relationships with people as well as with them. So I believe that Fame last summer helped me find a community.
Fame makes me feel good about myself because it shows me that I'm capable of doing things that I didn't even know of. For example, when I was in a STEAM thing, like the things they were talking about in there, I already knew half of it because I want to be an architect, and they were talking about the building structures and things like that.
In every single environment that we were in, whether we were being lectured by a teacher or being lectured by one of the leaders, Dr. Nichelle, Mr. Wiley, they did not allow you to just kind of sit in the back and and to not be involved throughout the whole year, throughout the entire session. They loved for you to get involved, for you to speak your mind, because those things are important. And specifically, that applies to the social and racial injustice that we've seen over the past couple of years. They've helped us to be uncomfortable with not speaking up, with not participating, with not being involved, with not being aware of what's going on. And so I'd say specifically that's how Fame has helped me to become more innovative and just to become more aware of what's going on in the world, what's going on with my community, what's going on with my family and my friends. They did not accept passivity. They helped us become proactive and to be very involved in everything that we do, rather than being spectators, but being very involved and, you know, being the driving forces of everything we do.
When COVID had hitting, it put a damper on my entire junior year. I had to finish the second half of my junior year at home, which was also challenging. And prior to that, we had many different racial incidents on campus, and we could call Mr. Wiley at any time, or we can call anybody at Fame at any time, and they were on the phone fighting for us, or up here at meetings, and just doing whatever they needed to do to help us.
Dr. Nichelle, and Mr. Wiley were frequent visitors my sophomore year. And just like taking the time out of their days to make day trips back and forth from Pittsburgh to Ohio, like really meant a lot to us. Even if it wasn't to discuss like some of the issues that are talk to like administration and stuff like that. They were frequent visitors and came and ate lunch with the Western Reserve Fame scholars, just to check in with us like frequently on how we're doing since we are away. And I think every time there's a issue that wasn't being handled how we wanted it, Mr. Wiley was always available. Like I could call him literally whenever I needed to, and he would pick up and he'd always be there. So I would call him and say, hey, like this is happening. And he's like, okay, like, do you need me to be up there? Like, I can be up here within the next couple of days. Like, it was like that kind of like almost dropping everything, like to make sure that we're okay. And not just the FAME scholars, but also the other Black students on campus, since we're all kind of going through the same thing.
How they give me a chance to go to a nice school and that I can have a leap in the career that I'm leading to. So yeah.
Well, I learned early on, as soon as I was a part of FAME and FAME Academy, we learned that to whom much is given, much is required. So of course, first FAME, they blessed Academy. I was blessed with the opportunity to do summer school, to experience a rigorous curriculum, and then to then bless me with the opportunity to go to a private school, free, with free tuition. And I think that being aware of all the things that I've received, I now know that I have a responsibility. I'm not able to sit back and not take the college process seriously or nonchalantly apply to colleges. Like I have to make sure that with every step that I take in the college process, there's a purpose, and that I'm keeping in mind the responsibility that I have. And like I mentioned earlier, being an ambassador for FAME, it's not okay just to, it wouldn't be okay to just not go to college, or that's a personal thing. More specifically, to be nonchalant, to not make sure that I'm attacking every single step or task in the college process with all of my effort, and making sure that I make like everything is to the best of my ability, and everything is the best quality. So I think
yours to take it or not, and every opportunity that I've taken from FAME, I can definitely honestly say it has benefited me.
So I got into Florida A&M, Howard, Duquesne, Loyola New Orleans, Clark Atlanta, and the University of Dayton.